an invocation of a song. So let me just share the screen.
हमको मन की शक्ति देना, मन विजय करे, दूसरों के जैसे पहले खुद को जय करे। हमको मन की शक्ति देना, मन विजय
Thank you so much for your kind attention. Dear and respected friend, it is an immense pleasure to welcome the guests who are virtually present here and all the participants. Today is the first day, or rather it's a inauguration day of our international summer school program. This program is being co-nurtured by Vishwaneedam Center for Asian Blossoming, OKAYMINDS, and Government Commerce College, PG College, Karnataka. There are So many people who joined and who will be joining. So there are some important persons who accepted our invitation. So first of all, on behalf of Vishwaneedam Center for Asian Listening, I welcome all our participants as well as our resource person. I welcome Dr. Anand P Ambali, Dr. Anga Tendulkarji, Dr. Nimisha Bandhanji, Dr. Amit Vanchunji, Dr. Vinitaji, Professor Lekha Chakravarti, Professor Gyan Gunui, Dr. Sanjana, Dr. Anand Kumar Giri, Leela Ramesh, Dr. Vinita Monsetti, Dr. Anitha Kotsogeni, she is from University of Leicester. So these are the important resource persons who will be with us till 17th of June. Let me also give a brief introduction to our Vishwaneedam Center for Asian Listening. Vishwaneedam Center for Asian Listening is a public intellectual trust, and there is an epochal need for people and scholars of Asia to come together and learn together. At present, very few such spaces exist where people of Asia from diverse backgrounds and countries can come together and learn together. Keeping this epochal need and challenges, some seeking souls and seed workers are trying to create Vishwaneedam Center for Asian Listening. We have registered this as an public trust in Puducherry, Chennai, in India. And on behalf of this trust, we nurtured so many important programs. We have Asian Forum for Social Theory, Swadhyay Chapter, Circle of Co-Learning and Mutual Studies, Gandhi Gopal Bandhu Center of Chitranjan Studies and Global Learning. And we plan to focus on work in the fields of business, social entrepreneurship, NGOs, and social movement, humanities, and social sciences. Stay at the institute, but there is a program of interaction with the learning people as well as universities and centers of learning in the country and all over the world. We have so many collaborations with different institutions like the Asian Foundation, Food Foundation, government and intergovernmental bodies, corporate houses, and creative educational foundations. First of all, I would request Professor Anand Kumar Giri, who is our mentor, to say some of a kind of brief introduction to our International Summer School. And then after, we will listen Dr. Anand P Ambali. So Professor Giri, over to you.
Thank you so much, Randeep and Bandana and Dr. Anand and all dear and respected friends co-present. So it is a joy that we could cultivate our summer school. And on this very important theme of the condition of the old, and our contemporary human condition. So the old and the contemporary human condition, the aged and the contemporary human condition. And usually we look at the aged as a category of problem. And therefore our usual approach is looking at the aged as a recipient and as object of care. But we also need to understand that the aging condition as part of the human condition is also a condition of life, living, creativity. And therefore, those of us who are in the senior category age-wise, we are also agent, we are souls, we are creative actors and actresses of humanity. So while discussing the condition of the aged, it is important not to forget the dimensions of creativity with which the aged people live and the respect that we need to bring in our relationship with the aged. So therefore, creativity and respect is very important. And this has to happen against the background of a sense of critique. For example, critiquing a very paternalistic approach to the aged, which is the dominant approach now. Critiquing only a welfarist model of the aged, or to the aged. So critiquing the whole system of discrimination of the aged that is going on in healthcare, in our social life, the exclusion. So our approach has to embody a sense of foundational critique of our attitude, critique of our social organization, and this critique being accompanied by acknowledging the creativity that all of us have, including the agent, and in solving the challenges of the agent, we need to bring that dimension of critique and creativity. And this critique and creativity then would lead to transformations. I just read a note about a novel written by a gay aged person, and the name of the novel is The Kingdom of Sand. So in a way, when you look at life, we feel as if at the old age, our life is a kind of vanishing sand. But this approach that our life is just a piece of sand, yes, it is transient. But the reality of the kingdom of sand also need to be accompanied by what Antoine d'Exupéry, the great writer from France, who is also the writer of Little Prince. You remember his deep work, The Little Prince. In fact, we would have to bring that approach to the aged now, what Exupéry brought to the young child, The Little Prince. Similarly, our aged people, the aged men and women, they are also not only little princes, they are also elder prince and princess. And Exupéry has a book called The Wisdom of the Sand. So in fact, we need to bring that dimension of wisdom. The aged people are carriers of wisdom of life. Therefore, dear friends, while talking about the old age and the human condition, let us bring this invitation of wisdom. How do we create conditions in social life where the wisdom of the aged can flow like a river to all those who are not so wise, like the middle-aged people, the young people? So some work in this direction is being done, where when I was visiting a center in Belgium, the center is inspired by the work of Rudolf Steiner, and they have a center for the aged people. And near that center, they have built a school for the young people. So my point is, these kind of creative efforts, where in the same space, there could be a center for the aged people, center for the young people, then it creates a possibility for the interaction of the aged and the young. Because in our Indian joint family system, we had the possibility of an interaction between grandparents and grandchildren, and that getting vanished in some context. So in the schools, if we can create a context for interaction between the school children and the aged people of a village. So with this submission, I invite all of us to this learning journey, and let us continue our sense of adventure and wonder as well as dedication together.
Thank you so much, sir, for excellent and very deep philosophical invocation, I would say, to understand and realize the old age problem as a ecological and multidimensional Thank you so much. So now it's time to invite our honorable speaker, Dr. Anand Rai. Dr. Anandji, yes. So I have just typed, his biographical page. So Dr. Anand has a specialization of elderly abuse vaccines for elderly, rural genetics, and prevention. So now I would like to invite him to kindly present his presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Namaste, sir. Shall I proceed with sharing the screen?
Yes, yes.
Thanks. I think it's visible there.
Yes, it is visible.
Yeah. A very good evening and namaste to all. At the outset, I thank Randir Gautam sir and his team for giving me this privileged opportunity to share my views on old age problems. I also thank Dr. Vanita Mohan and Dr. Anaga Chanjurkar for being with me here. And I welcome again on the behalf of the International Summer School this opportunity where it is mentioned like understanding old age problems and challenges. I just like to go one step ahead and solutions. I will try to bring out provide some solutions to the problems that the older people come across, especially as health services is concerned. So I am aware that this whole week-long program will be covering the social aspects, psychological aspects, medical aspects, spiritual aspects of the old age, and how best we can keep them busy. And right now, sir told that we have to utilize their wisdom. Definitely, sir. We keep telling the older people are the most experienced people in the society, and they are full of wisdom. And added to your suggestion, we here are also organizing intergenerational bonding programs between the children's college students and the older people, and have the exchanges of their ideas. So there's a long way to go. And as you rightly mentioned, we should keep the older people active as much as possible till they are alive. So in that context, I am going to discuss regarding active aging, towards active aging, how a role of doctor and the family or family members or the caregivers can add to the activity in the older people as long as they live. So I bring greetings to you from Geriatric Clinic, now Department of Geriatric Medicine, BLD, deemed to University, Shri B. M. Patil Medical College Hospital Research Center, Vijaypura in Karnataka. We started our geriatric clinic way back in 2007, and we have also a dementia clinic, immunization clinic for senior citizens, and last year we have also started MD in geriatric medicine in our college. We also provide social support, healthcare services for the rural elderly, home care services, apart from academic services to the medical students, as well as the health services to the older people. So in next 35-40 minutes, I think I will discuss regarding the prospects of active aging. So in the older people, we'll just know how the disease pattern takes place and how we can promote, whether as a physician or a caregiver or a family member or the old man himself. I have a few of my relatives who are senior citizens here, basically the Chandole family. So they all are in active aging. So we wish that this continues in their life. So how to promote and how to prevent certain diseases. So one of the beautiful picture that I got it in one of the college in Mumbai was this stroller or wheelchair. So it is our responsibility to provide care. So we are in the sandwich generation now, right, as Giri sir also told that the families are getting unified. So joint family is getting upset now. So still in places like Taluka place and district places in India, we are seeing a lot of older people are staying with their families, joint families, and grandchildren are definitely providing care for them. That's still a good thing happening, especially in the rural and semi-urban areas. So the older man, any person today and steps in after 60, he has 20 more years to live. So longevity, though nowadays is 67 years for those who born today for men and 68 years for the women. But what the scientific evidence shows that now the longevity is increasing. The old man today is in 60s will live for another 20 years. And this is where we have to keep them active. The old man, when comes to our clinic, he just retired and he just says that, Dr. Saab, what you want me to do now? Then again, we just tell them, keep busy, keep doing work. Then the spontaneous reaction is, I have been working for last 30 years. Now you still want me to work? Yes. So that work was towards the responsibilities in your life. Now it is your responsibility to keep yourself healthy, active, and explore what you could not do in last 30 years. Now you have time, you have money, you have strength to go ahead, to explore your hobbies, to explore the undone things in last 30 years because of the responsibilities towards your family, your kids, and whatnot all. So what happened in India and what is happening elsewhere is, in India, the population is also growing, and the country is now going towards the rich class, which was opposite in the Western countries. Western countries became rich first, then the population started growing, so that they could have a lot of resources to provide care for the older people in their country. While in India, it is not happening because simultaneously we are growing as well as we are becoming rich. And still, the health infrastructure has a priority for children, pregnant ladies, and infectious diseases. And then comes the older people. So we are still a step behind as far as receiving the care from the society as well as from the government. So what should be our goal when we come across an old man, whether it is our own grandfather or grandmother or parents who are 60 plus, or as a psychologist or as social worker or as doctor? We should ensure a good quality of life or improve quality of life of the given person. We should promote active aging. That is what I'm going to discuss in next 30 minutes. They should live independently as long as possible. That is our issue. Whenever we get the patient, we tell them we should be independent as long as possible. And prevent a disability is very important concept. The old man fears disability than death. Many older people, they say, let death comes today, I will accept, but I don't want to be differently abled or disabled or bedridden in the remaining of my life. So our goal while providing the care should be to prevent a disability in an older person. Of course, the care should be provided in a holistic manner, and next 10 days, all the lectures will collectively put efforts over the holistic approach. So mine today is beginning towards the health aspect. So all other aspects of holistic care will be covered over next 10 days, and it will be very interesting, I think, to understand the concepts and the ideas of other learned faculty members who are the part of this school. And dignified death is what our seniors deserve, and that is their due, and we have to provide them a dignified exit as far as part of care is concerned. So let me be frank enough to tell you that old age is not a disease. Old age is a physiological process. And right now in 2020, 10 to 20, those who are going for old age, it is their luck or they are blessed. And not all people are blessed to be crossing 60 or 70 in this present scenario. Okay, though we claim that longevity is increasing, but the middle-aged population right now is suffering suffering from health, mental, social, and psychological issues. And we don't know how their old age will be, or how many will reach to 60 plus. So the people who are already old now in 70s and 80s, they are on the verge of being independent to dependent. Yes, a person who's 80-year-old or 85-year-old, he needs a support in the home. He is becoming dependent on others. Addition of diseases is very common in older people. The two things one has to remember in the older people is the diseases that have origin at the age of 50, or now we are getting diabetes at the age of 40. So by the time he reaches 60 or 65, he develops the complications of the pre-existing disease which he had in middle age. Earlier, this was not a situation. Certain diseases were classed as old age disease. If you go old, you are bound to have hypertension, bound to have diabetes. Now that has come at the age of 40. So the older people now are facing the brunt of complications of those diseases like blindness, kidney failure, ischemic heart disease, myocardial infarction, or heart attack. And there are certain diseases of old age, like as we grow old, disease adds on, which is the previous disease not get cured. Diabetes doesn't get cured, hypertension doesn't cure, stroke doesn't get cured. They have to take lifelong treatment. Or that osteoarthritis knee, prostate hypertrophy, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinsonism, they keep on adding to the older people. And this has a negative impact on quality of life on the older people. This is where a role of a doctor and a teamwork plays a very important role in providing services and improves their quality of life. And despite many challenges, all of us have solutions for it. That's why I again endorse that the title Problems, Challenges, and Solutions. Yes, we all have solutions. Indian women are good in providing health services to the older people, keeping their economical conditions and cultural background. Very beautifully, they are providing care. I just keep telling everyone, they don't follow the Western protocol in providing care for the older people. Let us have our own protocol. Look at our own women. I'll be sharing some examples how Indian women are providing care for the older people in India without they knowing what happens in the West. So our main goal should be adding life to years when years cannot be added to life. This is where we are heading towards, and I feel this International Summer School will take this lead in creating awareness and providing solutions. So when we talk about diseases in old age, from the clinician point of view, all of us must know that because we are all providing care to our own parents who are 60 plus, our grandparents, and your colleagues, wherever you are in wherever respective fields you are. Whenever a disease strikes in them, deterioration is very rapid. Recovery is very slow recovery is there, but it happens. Many diseases are preventable. That is what we are going to discuss now. And many diseases take the toll because of the ignorance of the old man. He keeps saying, oh, this is part of old age. I didn't thought. It may be part of old age. Why should I bother? No. Even if the old man has a single symptom that he had a giddiness and a fall, he should not take it lightly. This is an warning sign that he is going to have some more serious issues. And a role of multiples is a rule in the older people. Multiple diseases, so is the multiple drugs, so is the multiple disabilities. That is where the old man gets entangled and he loses the hope in the life. This is where a role of clinician, a NGO, a social service, all should play a collective role to prevent this trap wherein the old person can fall. And disabilities like blindness, hearing loss have been we are still finding the blindness. Recently, the government of India added dementia as an disability. Of course, the Parkinsonism is there. and older people having these disabilities can go for benefits from the schemes that Government of India has launched. Now we classify older people into two groups: biological classification and chronological classification. Chronological classification is your birthday celebrations. We grow old, we add numbers to it. Today I am 49, tomorrow 50. As we go on adding, that becomes a chronological. Biological is very important. There are audience here today who are active even at the age of 75 or 80 years old. Whereas there are certain people who are inactive even at the age of 62. So that forms the biological aging. How active they are despite age. For them, age is just a number. They are still active. I see 85-year-old man, still he cycles every day in front of me. And there's an 80-year-old man who drives a car. And there's another 60-year-old man, he's just telling, sir, kya karna hai, umar ho gayi, takat nahi hai. So those things are what is we call as a biological aging. So we classify them into young old, and very old. Why? Because this we need to concentrate these two groups, because 60 to 74, they are very active. 95% of the people in this age group are very active. They are fulfilling all their needs, physical needs. They go for hobbies, they go for traveling, international travel, everything they're doing very good. That's a good thing. This is the 75 to 84 is the one where the older people will require some part of assistance in their life. And they start avoiding going for a walk and all those things, to meeting, socializing, all those things. 85 is again where they have become totally dependent on their family members for the care. If I see an 80-year-old man today in my clinic, I give him prescription for 2 months because I know he will be not brought for next month for the follow-up. So because children's, they are dependent upon children, and the child has to find time to get his father to the clinic. So I ensured straightway that take treatment for 3 months and come back after 3 months. So that is how we try to provide the care for them. And right now, even in India, the population of 80 plus is increasing. This is very alarming. And this is where the complications of the disease occurs, and the disease like Alzheimer's and Parkinsonism, and a old lady who has a fractured neck femur and is bedridden in the home. So these all diseases has a huge impact on the family, the caregiver, who are not trained. Somehow they manage. Fine, that is good. Some they come to us, ask solutions. Yes, we provide to them. Larger population still are not being provided adequate care that they deserve. This is where we should go one step ahead. And these are the people who are increasing in number, come with multiple diseases. They reach very late to the hospital, and they succumb to it. So this is what we have to consider, providing care for the 80s and 90s in the society. From the old man point of view, they keep blaming it on the age. Any disease comes today, oh, I had that fall because I am old. At the age of 70, you would expect me to run? No, I fall because of old. My appetite is reduced because I'm old. No, I again repeat, old age is not a disease. It's a physiological process. Any symptom that appears has a disease background. If he is having reduced appetite, he must be having some infectious process going in his body. If he is not drinking more water, means there is some problem with his hydration status. He may be having some electrolyte disturbance. Or if he had a fall, there is some problem in the brain or the heart. So that is how we should look for and never ignore. If all the audience here, if they come across any of these issues in their grandparents, please consult the doctor immediately. Older persons are very smart. They hide certain diseases like constipation, falls. They feel that, oh, how can I talk to this to doctor? How can I talk to this my mother or my children's? So constipation, like the movie, you know, the Piku has been concentrating on constipation, falls, abuse. The older people are being abused. Now, earlier it was called as a social problem. Now it has been recognized as a medico-social problem because older people who are being abused have a negative impact on health. And the older people who are abused, they survive 3 years less than those who are not abused. This is scientifically proven. As I mentioned again, they fear disability than death. So we have to concentrate on this. Though we say that preventive symptoms like just a giddiness, don't ignore. It may be a part of the major disease. And diseases like hypertension, diabetes, thyroid disorders, they don't produce much symptoms. They are silent, but they come to us with complications like a stroke or a heart attack or a renal failure, kidney failures. So this is where we should concentrate on regular checkups in older people because we want to keep them active as much as possible. So we have to provide the care from the physical aspect, mental health, spiritual health, and the social aspect. Whenever we look at the old man, we look from these 4 angles. What is his physical status of disease? What is the mental status? What is the social status? And what is spiritual level? So accordingly, we should treat them and identify and correct all the 4 things. As a geriatrician, I have to provide care for all these 4 angles, otherwise treatment will not be successful. So this is what we do in geriatric practice. So coming to an older person, from the health perspective, why it is challenge? What are the problems? Yes, an old person today coming to a clinic can have help from physical health issues, mental health issues, social. He may be having a disability, poor quality of life. You're all in the one person. And you need a teamwork. All a doctor alone cannot help. You need a psychologist, you need a nurse, you need a doctor, you need an NGO. So many people, family members, a self-motivated old man is very important. Unless he is motivated that I want to be I want to remain active, most of this work that we are providing will not be successful. It will be futile attempt. Hence, we need a coordinated efforts. An old man today, with a 60 to 100, we can come across in our lifespan, maybe as a grandfather, a grandmother, or a parent. He can come with a lot of problems. Okay, so these are many issues that we come across. They can have atypical symptoms, multiple drugs they are taking. Nowadays, they are not only allopathic, Ayurvedic, homeopathic, or OTC counter, a lot of drugs they are taking and having a lot of issues. They can have infectious diseases, non-communicable disorder rise. He may land up in a hospital for a major surgery. Most of them, they self-medications, they land up with a lot of problems. And old men today can come with a cancer or the old age disease I mentioned. They keep blaming on the age, depression, on loneliness. Just 8 to 10 years back, depression was very commonly spoken in older population. Now it is replaced by loneliness. This is where we all learned people here today, we should concentrate on loneliness. This is where the older person are now succumbing and they are coming to us in a state of depression and anxiety. They deserve to have care modalities like palliative care, end-of-life care, respite care, and rehabilitation. Elder abuse, will share some things. Bereavement is common because nowadays the older people are losing their not only family members but also friends. What is more important, what was keeping them more active was the friend circle. So if an 80-year-old man today is losing his friends every year one by one, and he is deeply depressed because he don't have any friends to share his views or thoughts to and play, they should get physiotherapy or aids whenever they need, which I'll be discussing. Nowadays, older people are coming with advanced directives. They're telling to us and their children that whenever I become serious, don't put me on ventilators, don't put me on dialysis, don't let me die peacefully in the home. Now, advanced directives are coming from the older people. Many people we come across, we have to visit a person who is bedridden. And above all, a caregiver, maybe a family member or a paid caregiver, is the most important person, because he is the one or she is the one who provides all the care during all these processes that a old man comes across in his life. So today we can get an older man for a surgery. Tomorrow, after 1 year, he may come with a cancer, or he may after 2 years he may come with Alzheimer's. All these can occur in the same person at various periods of time. This is how the geriatric medicine differs from the other medicine. So old man, when you are told that, oh, you got these diseases, initially the spontaneous reaction is, why me? Why me? I didn't do anything wrong. I've been doing good I never had any bad habits. Why me? This is for the short time. And slowly they realize that they have to live with it. So they start living with it, and they do very good, go very good with it if the counseling is done, and they try to overcome all the challenges, that they settle with that. And then they say that, yes, sir, these are all my friends with me. Pain is also my friend. If they've got a knee joint pain, yes, sir, he is also my friend. We are living with it. Somehow we are living with it. So the role of doctor is to improve the quality of life. And as I keep telling you, self-motivation is very important in an older person to keep himself active, apart from providing a teamwork. And second person who should be well motivated is a caregiver, maybe a daughter-in-law or a son, who can motivate the older person to go for it. The most important aspect when we talk to the older person is the communication. It's very important whether he understanding what we are talking, and ensure him that whatever he has said, I have understood. So these two important things are very important for an old man to understand that this person is understanding what I'm talking. So that is very important. Always ensure that they are wearing eyeglasses, hearing aids, or dentures when they are talking to others. Always face the person while you're talking, your older persons in a home. Always try to face them, because the older persons are very good in lip reading. Even if they're short of hearing, they're very good in lip reading. They can understand what you're talking. Speak clearly, never shout at them, never speak long sentences with your grandfathers. They will get confused. Sometimes use cues, gestures, and sometimes older people seek privacy. This is very important. We need to provide some private time for them in the home as well, so that they can do what they want to do. So every time they do not be observed by us. And whenever we are communicating or talking or spending time with our older people, kindly ensure you avoid distractors. Don't go on talking on mobile phone for hours together, sitting in front of grandmother. She will feel awkward. The situation is awkward. Now, there are people who come to our clinics and they say, no, sir, what happened to last week? I don't remember. So what we did was we told them to write what all the symptoms you are having in last 1 week. Okay, so if you can't write, at least tell your grandson to write what are the symptoms you'd face in the last 1 week after consultation. So they'll write that I had a cough, I had a giddiness, and all those things. Nowadays, the older persons are coming like this. So they are bringing a chit, okay, and writing few symptoms. What are the symptoms they have developed? And they come and keep on my table. Doctor Saab, all these are the problems I had, because I have tendency to forget. So what should I tell you when I come to your clinic? Right. So we have made this problem solving issue that you write the symptoms on a piece of paper and get it to us. So nowadays, many people are coming with that paper. This old man, I just didn't show the photograph, closed eyes, because he is totally blind. He is totally deaf. So communication was very difficult to him. The only way of communication with him was the touch. You just touch his head, he used to tell no headache. Like that, you used to tell put a hand over your stomach, no stomachache. Like that, this is how we communicate. And the older people are still, such people are still there. It's very difficult for them, even the family members, to communicate with them. Now, coming to few concepts of active living, aging, is how active they are doing their activities of daily living. What constitutes as the moment we get up in the morning, we'll have bath, dressing, then have a breakfast, go for toilet, and then transfer and mobility, whether they are going, all if they are doing their activity of daily living is good. Then there is the concept of instrumental activity of daily living. The older men are very active in going for a shopping. They go with their pets. Some prepare meals to go for laundry, and they use a telephone, and they are using the bus. Most of the times I ask my patient, how did you reach my clinic? He said, I came by local bus. Some says, no, I came by bicycle. So this tells the activity profile of an older person. Now, why this is important for all of us? If an old man has stopped any of this activity, like going to a shopping, going out with a pet, or going for a morning walk, then there is a problem. What all of us should know is there is some problem that is making him to avoid going for these activities, otherwise which he was active for 1 week back, or yesterday he was active, today he doesn't want to go. Then this ideal lands up to the ADL drastically within 3 or 4 days if the patient is having serious illness like pneumonia or a urinary tract infection. He stopped going for walk 1 week back, and 4th day, his daughter-in-law says that he needs support to go to restroom, and today he could not even get up from the bed to your breakfast table. So rapid deterioration in the health issues takes place. This is very important. Now coming to dementia, it's very common, and forgetfulness of old age is different from dementia. Now, suppose the old man remembers after 10 minutes or 15 minutes that where I kept the key. That is a forgetfulness of aging. But he doesn't remember at all that I have forgotten where I kept the key. That is dementia. So it is common in middle-aged people that we keep our scooter key and our car key in the table and come back, and then we remember, oh, I kept it there. So we'll go and bring it. So this is an aging phenomenon. Whereas I don't remember where it is kept, and that forms a dementia. So there are the warning signs of dementia, especially the learned audience must know that if old person is handling finances in the family, just keep and watch on it. This is very important, I'll tell you, because they might have given some loans or to somebody and they don't even remember that they have given loan to somebody, cash loan to somebody. So those are the issues one must know. As far as dementia is concerned, they forget what they have had in the breakfast in the morning. They forget the common names, the wife's name and the children's names. All those things can happen with dementia. Now coming to the drug issue, older people are very fond of taking number of drugs, and they are very fond of taking drugs for every issue. And every doctor they meet, they ask for the drugs. And nowadays the children, grandchildren who are doctors, they also come and write the drugs. So without knowing what all he is taking, so they create an issue called polypharmacy. So if the old man is taking more than 4 drugs, there is a problem. Okay. So if he is already having 7 diseases and is taking 7 to 8 drugs, that accounts for an appropriate polypharmacy because he requires it. And he doesn't have any disease and taking multiple drugs, or he has only 1 disease and taking 10 drugs, that forms to inappropriate drugs. So we check that which are the drugs which really required, which are the drugs which don't require. So that is the role of geriatrician, what we do in our hospital. So the older person keep taking the drugs and he develops a side effect. He goes to another doctor. He adds another drug to treat the side effect. That is what we call as cascade. So that should not happen in the older person. This is a lady who came to us. When she came to our clinic, she was taking so many drugs. Some were appropriate, some were inappropriate. So when we sat with her and checked what are the drugs she really needs, okay, and we found that there were duplications or multiples of the drugs, and all that she required had only these 5 drugs. Otherwise, she was taking so many drugs. So this is the role of geriatrics. These are the challenges, and we come across and we do a brown bag system for them. This is an old man who is taking so many drugs every day. Now, when I tried to stop him, he politely said, Dr. Saab, don't do that. I'm not going to do that also. Because I feel confidence in me that tomorrow I will wake up only if I take all these drugs. Now don't stop me taking these drugs. So they were so much addicted to that concept that if I take these drugs and sleep, next day I am going to wake up. This was his concept. So we could not interfere in that. This is how they open up sometimes. And to ensure that the drugs are taken properly on time, what we have come with the concept is, we have come like the zipper bags for the older people. We provide them like this. We are written in the 3 languages: Kannada, Marathi, and Hindi. Kannada, English, and Hindi. And this is a full sun in the morning, afternoon sun, and the night. Even if those illiterate, we just put the drugs in those packs and give to them that this has to be taken in the night, this to be in the morning, this to be in the afternoon, and we tick them whether before food or after food. So this is how we try to overcome the non-compliance of drugs and unnecessary use of medicines. Coming to the mental health, it's very important. This is a photograph that's showing. I think many of you must have seen this. It has made a viral on the social media. I was telling you, depression is very common. Now loneliness is coming up. What we have found in our own hospital is older people are now attempting suicide. One of my study on 50 people admitted in suicide is there on Google. Lot of people attempted life because of many issues. One of them was depression, second was abuse. So the older people who are in depression or they are getting abused, they try to attempt life. They self-harm themselves or attempt suicide. And fear of losing friends is always in their minds. That now 75, yesterday, one of my best friend who was 74, he left. Another 1 month back, another who was 70, he left. So they keep on thinking that I'll be alone hereafter in my life. Coming to the abuse, I was telling you, we will be discussing this by other faculty in the next few days, but it has a very negative impact on health as far as mental health and physical health is concerned. And I again repeat, people who are abused will survive 3 years less than what. Now I'll tell you 2 contexts about abuse. This old lady, 100 years old, came to me and she was found to have anemia. 4.7 grams of hemoglobin. Okay, and this is another story, very beautiful. See how people, their family, just yesterday only this was the headline in the Median newspaper. Joint family celebrates Gandhi's 100th birthday. See, they are so proud of a person who is 100 years old in their family. So absolute contradictions are there in the society, whether they are rich or poor, whether they are staying in urban or rural. Abuse has no boundaries. It is happening in many families. I am seeing much more in the learned and the rich families rather than the below poverty line. We at the geriatric clinic have formed a questionnaire to identify abuse without questioning. It's a tool. We don't ask them. We just observe them in 3 or 4 visits and we just tick some marks which is there in a questionnaire, and which is also be published in one of the journal from Delhi. So we try to identify, because some older people open up, some don't open up. And for information to all, this will be discussed again later. There is an Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizens Act by Government of India, and very beautiful law, very solid law, I like to tell, for the older people. But from the older person's point of view, they don't want to file a case against their own son. Definitely, no old person wants to file a case against their own daughter-in-law or son. No matter how badly they are abused, they are silent because they fear dignity. They say, Dr. Saab, 50 saal se nobody has, not a single policeman has visited my home till now, and I don't want police or laws or to come to my home because they feel that they lose their dignity. So no older person files unless they are well educated, they are coming from a very good social background, they file a case. But majority of the older people say nothing doing. It is, they try to blame themselves that it is my mistake that I didn't put my son or a daughter in a good education. I didn't train them to take care of older people in the better way. That is my problem and I'm going to face it. This is what the older people are coming now. Now coming to the caregiver issues. So very important. From a clinician point of view, the success of your treatment depends upon the caregiver. So we tell the caregiver to put your own ideas. Ultimately, you have to provide comfort to that old man in your home. We cannot copy paste the guidelines given in the Western countries. No, in most of the villages, even in households in urban areas, they don't have commodes. Putting the rails, that is still further thing. Okay, so keeping economical condition and the cultural background, we need to provide care. That is what I promote in my practice, and we have seen very good results also tell. And we also tell the caregivers to respect the views of seniors, never argue with them, don't go against their wishes, but doesn't mean that you just do whatever they tell. Just don't go against their wishes, and don't lose hope. If you are facing any difficulties in managing the older person in the home, please come. We get a lot of older caregivers. They come and literally cry in our clinic that despite doing this, he is not satisfied. Okay. Now, again, we tell them, do not compare your care with others' care. But we get all the caregivers and ask, what did you do when the same problem is with your father-in-law or mother-in-law? Then the solutions comes. Okay. So caregiver burnout is very common because I have seen n number of women, they have sacrificed their job just to provide care for their in-laws. It's very important. I salute to the woman who has left her job just to ensure that the in-laws are getting care till they are there in the home. Okay, so they are feeling tired. Sometimes they lose patience and they are developing anemia because they themselves are not having good food, no good sleep. The old man is awake whole night. So is she awake whole night. So all these things are happening. Of course, in Western countries, the divorce is common because the wife doesn't want to provide care. And recently in Ahmedabad, one incident worth mentioning here is a couple, middle-aged couple, filed a divorce. The husband filed a divorce because his content was, my wife is not providing care for my ailing parents. And the High Court upheld, gave the decision in the favor of the husband and warned the daughter-in-law that it is your duty to provide care for your in-laws. If you don't provide care, and I will sanction the divorce. So even the honorable courts are coming to the rescue of such situation. So we inform the caregivers that if you want any help from us, please approach us. We have a team, we have psychologists, we have NGOs, we have many care things that you can learn from various sources. NIMHANS in Bangalore is providing caregiver courses. Like that, we tell them to, what is your problem? You ask them, what is your problem? You tell, face us. We can be a part of solutions. Or we ask somebody in the geriatric care that this lady is having the problem handling this man. Can you have some solutions? So we share with them and educate yourself how best we can give. Talk to your friends. Talk to your friends. Open up and recognize if you are having burnout. Go for respite care. Tell your sister-in-law, come stay for 2 days here. I want to go out because I am feeling burnout. That itself, speaking out, is very important for the daughter-in-law in home to provide care. Now, the older people, especially in our setup, they have been subjected for branding marks, what they call, they put the hot rods over the area which is painful, and they land up with the multiple ulcers and that septicemia. And earlier they used to come with the beautiful round rods, multiple branding marks. Hot rods have been put on her face. She came with a very serious situation, and now they are branding marks is in vertical form. They're all creating more health issues than solutions. We at our geriatric clinic also promote posthumous body donation. There are many older people now coming forward that they want to pledge their body for research after death. So this is one gentleman who did this, and we provide the care and certain concessions in our hospital, those who donate or pledge their body posthumously. So coming to the utility of AIDS, No older person should be denied of utility of these aids. Maybe a hearing aid, of course, they are very costly. Those who are affordable must go. Even dentures, yes, it improves the quality of life. That's very, very important. Spectacles, yes, they must use. Walking aids, wheelchair, walkers, all are very important at certain age of life. And even if I see an old man who is feeling giddy or dizzy for a long time, I recommend him use a stick. That will prevent a fall in you and further consequences. So a simple suggestion to use a stick is very important. So equally, having an senior friendly facilities, especially at the hospital. What we are having at our private clinic is the rail ramp, the rails throughout the hospital. We have rails so that they can hold it and the walk. There is absolutely no hurdles. These are all anti-skid tiles. We have a low set cot so that they can come and directly sit on the cot. They don't have to climb the table and all those things. We even have wheelchairs which can have a commode and soft things so that they can even have an lie down on the wheelchair. So all these facilities have to be provided for the older people. Now, what we can prevent? We can prevent infection, cognitive decline, mental disturbance, falls, and bed sores. So how can we prevent? We'll just have a look. So there is something called immunization schedule for the older people. These are the vaccines recommended for them to prevent infectious disease in them, especially influenza vaccine and pneumococcal vaccine. Tetanus should be taken for every people after 60 years and then every 10 years. Pneumococcal once in 5 years. Influenza once every year. Hepatitis B. Why we are recommending this? Because older people are going for surgeries. More older people are going for surgery. Maybe it's an open heart surgery or knee replacement surgery. A lot of surgeries are taking place in older people. So to prevent hepatitis B infection, we have to immunize them. Of course, COVID vaccine is now available. We at our clinic conduct mass immunization campaigns for the older people every year, especially during October, where we give influenza vaccine so that pneumonia can be prevented them. This is despite COVID, we get a lot of people to get influenza vaccine, and these are very limited editions available in market. Now, coming to the mental status, active brain. If the person is growing old, he needs to be active by brain as well, physically, mentally, socially, and spiritually. So we tell them to listen to the music, chant mantras. Has a powerful impact. Gayatri mantra has a very powerful impact on the mental status of elderly person. Learn new things. Very important. We just give them a new mobile phone. Let them learn. Let them explore it so that they are starting using the brain. Playing games, clapping. Even clapping is one of the best exercise they can do sitting or when they are with their friends, so that improves the blood supply to the brain and improves the brain activities. Sometimes you try the regular things that you do, try with the left hand tomorrow. So if you are brushing with the right hand, try with the left hand tomorrow, so that improves the other half of the brain. We recommend the older persons to be a part of this. Those who are educated, go for these games every day. Many people are doing. If this is their interest, they have to do. And keep them active in the home itself. How can we keep them mentally happy and peace? Celebrate their special days like a birthday or anniversary. Allow them to keep their hobbies alive, like gardening, reading, singing, dancing. That is why I am telling you, give them a private space every day. Let him be in the room. Don't try to peep in and see what. No, give them freedom. Give them a private space, 2 hours. Let him sing, dance, let him watch movie. But that private space is required for that age. Avoid watching negative news. That is very important, and that creates a negative impact. And as much as possible, watch comedy movies and listen to old songs that they have. And as a caregiver, we should appreciate the good things that they are doing. That is very important to keep them mentally active. Compliment for the new thing done. If they have done something new, you should compliment. Yes, this is a beautiful thing that you have done. Bless them. In my clinic practice, I always tell the old man has always apprehension. Doctor Saab, how long I can stay? Is this serious? Am I going to die? No. But I'm not giving them the false thing that you are going to live 100. But I say that we pray for you that you come out of this stride, and we ensure that with your help and God's blessing, you cross 100. That is our wish. So keep their mind busy, allow them to meet friends, or if they are not able to go, you take them at least once in a week to their friend's home, leave him there for 4 hours and then get him back. That should be done in the older people, and allow them to do what they wish to do, please, because we don't know when is the last day. So if the 80-year-old man is today and we don't know when is his last day, so allow him to go for a walk or go for a movie and go for a dance or whatever he wants to do, let him do in his life. And if you are taking care of an old person who is having Alzheimer's or dementia, please ensure that keep one set of your home keys in your best friend's home, because these older people are fond of throwing things in the dustbin. Always check the dustbin every day before you give it to the municipality, because the old man might have thrown some important documents or the keys in the dustbin. Keep medicines away, because they are fond of taking red color medicine, yellow color medicine. Just they feel they like the color and they like to eat, and always try to prevent injuries. So most of the times what happens is one of the, this very commonly happens, they take the calculator, keep pressing the button, and they get so aggravated that I am trying calling you for so many times and you're not attending my call. This is what this called. But what is there in hand? It is an calculator. So this happens with the patient dementia. Now, what I was telling you about the Indian woman, and with this case with the dementia, what his daughter-in-law did was, this fellow had an gentleman had a habit of wandering. He just used to leave home and go around. So, of course, the whole area was knowing who is the gentleman. They used to come. But what this lady did was she just put and brought 6 white shirts like this. She was very good in doing embroidery. She put her all the addresses and with mobile number on 6 shirts. Every day, the new shirt used to be worn by the old man. Even every day he was not wandering, but the day if he has to wander, the lady was knowing that he is having the contact details on his shirt. Anybody finds him will definitely call her. So this is the thing that is done by our own Indian women. So please, this is how we motivate them to come with their own ideas. Now, preventing a fall in older people is very, very important. Falls are very costly. I'll tell you, if old man develops a fall, the surgical aspect, the quality of life, being bedridden, very, very costly. So always try to avoid these loose slippers, avoid this bifocal lens in the older person. The older persons are risk of fall when they are going down, not when climbing. When they are going down, they are at risk. So always allow them to climb the step, but when going down, let them come by lift or escalator. Dhoti is one of the risk factors for fall in older people. Never keep the floors wet. Always provide a mattress if the older person is sleeping on the cot in the home. And don't use these ruggers, because these are the source of falls of older people in the home. And ensure, if you have an old man in the home, always ensure that the light in the toilet or the restroom is on throughout night. Throughout night, it should be on. Next day morning, you get up and off it. But ensure that in their restroom, the light is on throughout night. This prevents falls. And if you have a staircase, ensure that the first step and the last steps are colored, and you don't keep any clutters like flower pots and all those things. And handrails should be there for the older person to have. Now, we tell the old person that, or families, that is a risk for fall. So why don't you get a stick? So this gentleman, he was very enthusiastic for caring for a 70-year-old mother, and he brought this stick. And the old lady didn't use this stick. No, you know that. Then next time, then they came for follow-up. Then I asked, you told me that you have brought a stick. Why this lady is not using? Then the gentleman said, no, sir, she is not using this stick. And I said, get another one. So he brought another costlier, a little costlier stick for his mother. Then despite this, his mother was not at all using the stick. Said, no, I won't use the sticks. Then I asked her, what is that you want? Then the lady was very smart. She told, I want a flexible stick. I don't want such long sticks people should see. I want a flexible stick which can be flexed and kept in my purse. And whenever I feel I want to use, I will make it long and I will start using. So this is how the old people also think. We have to respect their thinking and go according to them and not enforce our own ideas. And very important thing, if the old lady is bedridden, you can prevent a bed sore and you can use a pillow below the leg. You can use the air beds. You can keep the pillows in between the thighs when they're sleeping. This all prevents bed sores in the patients. And coming to the last aspect, lifestyle modification. Yes, we keep telling the old man, keep complaining. Now I can't do exercise. Okay, do yoga. Whatever best positions you can do, go for yoga, go for meditation. And among all the best exercise is walking. Just go for a walk and don't compare. Just go for a walk. How long you can walk, you walk and come back. And in my clinical practice, wherever I go for the senior citizen forums, I tell them to blow balloons. That improves their lung functions. So this is a group where they are blowing the balloons, and I take balloons and give to them. Keep blowing the balloons every day. Go for a walk. Do some of these activities. Get-togethers. Always stay away from smoking, alcohol, and idle life, and that is not good for the old age. So just few tips to keep them healthy or active. You have to understand the changing needs of the older person. We can't enforce what we know. No, we have to ask him also. We have to involve him in the decision. Do not force to do the things which they don't want to do, please. Okay, so that is how the active aging takes place. Give them privacy for at least few hours a day. Involve them in decisions. That is very important. Nowadays, the children are not involving their parents in financial decisions or the children's marriage. This is where the old person wants that I should be heard. My voice should be heard. Keep them socially active. Allow them to attend marriages and all the programs with you. You can take them for a ride. Allow them to meet friends. This is very, very important. Listen to them. What is there in mind? This is very important for all the youngsters here. Listen to the older person, what he wants, what things to be done for him. And of course, from health point of view, you should get their blood pressure, blood sugar level, eyes, dental, ear checkup at least once in a year if they're not having any issues. And you can motivate them, and they should also be self-motivated in their life. So when we meet the old person, or when we have a grandparents in our own home, parents over 60, we should know the person and not the disease. This is what we teach our medical students. Try to know the person, what is the interest, allow them to do which they have which we are not doing because of their responsibilities. So this will help an active aging in the person. So all of us should know there is an entity called palliative care, rehabilitation care, day care, hospice care, and end of life care for the older persons. And what coming next is living funeral, medical will, and advance directives. So these still are not legalized in our country. These are bound to come in next year. So just to wind up, active aging is a necessity, not luxury. We all must strive. Our old persons should have an active aging, and all of us let be a part of solution. So there are problems, there are challenges. Of course, there are solutions also. So we should be part of that. Sometimes out of the box action helps. Somebody tells nobody has done so far. So what? You can try. Nothing wrong with that. Out of box helps. Preventive disability should be our priority. It is not how long one lives. It is how active one lives. That is where we as in health services think of, and as much as possible avoid unscientific methods of treatment in the patient. So with this, I just request all those who are interested in further learning in geriatric medicine and dementia care, they can join a course called Tapas, which is an online course by Government of India. And all of us must know this helpline 14567, which is an Government of India initiative. And this will help the older person in need, in emergency, for abuse, for legal services, for any health services, help they want, they can just call this number and help reaches to them. So to conclude, what our origins and Gita says, one who salutes and serves the elders will get the four things: long life, knowledge, fame, and strength. So we care for our older people, our parents needs to be cared. This is what the International Summer School has intent, and they have a huge number of well-learned faculty to discuss in next 10 days. So I thank you all for your patience hearing. And if you have got any critics or suggestions, please drop into my email ID. I'll end by quoting, "We do not heal old age, we just promote it, protect it, and extend it," with by James Sterling. Thank you very much for your patience hearing. And I wish you all the best and a very active aging for those who are seniors here. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Anand, for an insightful and informative session. And I think this is the best session in order to understand and introduce the concept of old age. And really, it was a fruitful session. And the last petition that you say, it's very deep and very touching. That we say that never forget the hands that raised you. So, dear and respected participants, now it's time to interaction, question answer. So we will have our attendance also. So first, I would like to start conversation with our participant, and she is a very senior participant, Dr. Praneeth Jaggi. Yes. So she is taking some time. Yes, Sarojini ji, please. Kindly unmute yourself. If possible, video be on. Yes. Yes, Sarojini ji, please ask your question.
I think I took a lot of time.
Okay. Yes, now you are unmuted. Sarojini ji, please ask your question. Okay, she is taking some time, so we can invite Dr. Gyan Gului. Just give a brief comment on the very presentation. 1 to 2 minutes. Yes.
Thank you very much. I am audible because I am not sure.
Yes, you are audible.
Thank you very much. It was everything was really very, very interesting, and I would need to meditate on every point. Much time. I have a direct contact with the problem with the question of the importance of activity in the old age, because here in Vienna we made some years ago a volume of the popular university concerning the importance of the activity in old age, and there were, so to speak, multiple aspect of coping, of facing the argument. That is, there were of course medical doctors, but there were also sociologists, and I too, for instance, participated with a contribution. And well, what emerged clearly from all the contribution, like a thread, a common thread in all the contribution which we presented to the Popular University of Vienna, was really the importance of the activity and of the attention for the old age. That is, old age is not an age in which everything is stopping, but on the contrary, old age is an age in which an enormous importance, an infinite importance, possesses the point of implementing activities. That is also because, as for instance in the volume, the sociologist of Vienna underlined at that time, old age is, at least in the Western countries, associated very many times with the exit from the activity of the work, of the job. And therefore, there is always the risk that with the going out from the job activity, job life, there is, so to speak, a lack of a decrease of attention for the activity of the mind. And this danger is it was seen here in Vienna, in Austria in generally, but in Vienna in particular, because most researchers of the contribution for the Popular University of Vienna were from Vienna or were active in Vienna, that in whichever condition of family, that is old aging people who lives with the family or who lives privately, separately from the family, where there is always this danger of going out from the activity of job and rapid decrease of interest for life, for the world outside, and so on and so forth. Therefore, well, I experienced it directly, the importance of the activity. But as said, every point of the magnificent, excellent presentation would need a long reflection. Thank you very much anyway. Thank you very much, really.
Thank you, Professor Gyan Guli, and thank you, Dr. Ananda. I think we don't get any question.
Priya is raising hand.
Yes, Priya, please ask your question. If possible, also, unmute your video too.
Good evening, sir. Myself, Priya. Sir, my question is, as we see the major reason for conflict between the parents and the children is their different thinking pattern. The generation gap is there between parents and the children. So, sir, I want to know your views on this topic.
It's a very practical question, very practical question. Now, why should we change our attitude or thinking for our own parents? The question lies with us. What I feel is try to put our foot in their shoes and try to know the issues. We can't be outrightly say that you are wrong. My father is wrong, my mother is wrong. No, we can't outrightly tell, because whatever they say or they tell us, it is out of the experience that have come across, which we don't have. Our age doesn't have that experience. Now, only request to me to answer for this question is, we have to look at the both sides of the coin. Now, we cannot outrightly say that, no, they are wrong. No, we cannot say like that. And there is a tussle, yes. If an old man thinks that he has to lend some money, lakhs of rupees to his son without any assurance guarantee, he thinks twice. He may say no. Then the tussle starts. Yes, agreed. But that should not be the reason. The son or daughter also who is troubling their parents should or must think from their point of view. So that communication gap and between the two generations is widening. And that is why the older people are preferring to stay alone. That is why they are going for old age home. Despite having good family, good income, they are trying to go out because there is a difference of opinion. So from my experience point of view, I still feel that our youngsters must respect and take their another opinion. Don't be, whatever they say, don't react to that, respond to it, and wait for some time and then go ahead. I think Gautam sir can add more to this.
That would be the sociological issue. We will have one session on the sociological dimension of our old age problem. So the whole question of age gap is very, very important, and that is one of the root causes of the kind of family disorganization so far as the age old is concerned. So, Dr. Santosh, yes, and also then Dr. Sri Someshwar ji. Yes, Dr. Santosh ji, please ask your question.
No, I think there's a clap. Someshwar sir is there. You can ask question.
Yes, Someshwar ji, please.
Good evening, everybody. I first congratulate Dr. Anand for this informative talk. I'm very happy, and being on the verge of old age, I got very good input for us. So I'm quite satisfied with talk. Mostly touched all aspect of our old age. And he thought, or he has given the need to see these problems from new lookout, which is not happened in India as before. Thank you very much. I congratulate you again.
Thank you, Kaka. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other participant? Akansha, would you like to ask something? Anita, Dr. Pratima Soni ji, Kiranjot?
No, sir.
Okay. So,
Present, sir.
yes, yes. Miniti Pradhan ji?
Yeah, I was waiting for my turn. Yeah, I hope I'm audible.
Yes, madam.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Anand, for so much for this very excellent and very informative talk. So I actually noticed, many things that what we know and what we don't notice also in our day-to-day life. So I had one question. How do you deal with that why me questions when they ask why I did not do anything in my full life and why it happened to me? Because they prefer to die early than suffer any disability. That is one thing. One more line I would like to add very humbly. It is not about the duty of only the son and daughter-in-law. It is the duty of all the children and their spouses and the grandchildren also to take care of the old age people. So, and apart from that, Randir, may I share a little bit of my personal thing here? In this
yes, 2 minutes. 2 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, just I will say. So when Dr. was showing on the presentation of that 100 years old man, so women's birthday celebration was there. I was just thinking my grandfather-in-law, he lived up to 105 years. And when we look back, how did he maintain a healthy life till his last moment? I found so many things what it contributed to his longevity. It is like his genetics and very healthy lifestyle, and and that economical condition and ignorance, those things can be a obstacle of providing them health care. And we were very careful of little bit of his trouble or anything, to consult doctors and doing things like that. So these things actually, if you study also, it will help to taking care of the older people. So this is what was my submission, and I have asked that question, and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anand.
Thank you, madam, for that input and also suggestion. So the question remains is why me? So it's very, I tell you, this is, even it took a long time for me to learn how to answer such questions. It is a clinical aspect, and we need to study his mindset and how he'll be reacting to us, how his reaction will be. So in clinical scenario, madam, it is very, very difficult to answer this question in one go. We cannot directly answer for that. We have to beat around the bush and then reach the scenario scene. And most of the times it happens when we give them a diagnosis of a malignancy or a cancer. That suddenly is, oh, I never had a smoking, I never ate tobacco, why is this cancer to me? So we have to counsel them. And what we do is we do counseling for them, and it is not in one go. We tell them nothing to worry now, go back, come back again after 2 days or 3 days, again we'll sit and do discuss. Any other questions you want, you can ask us. We start counseling, basically counseling from a psychological aspect from point of view, and we try to answer his concerns. Behind why me, there are many concerns we have to answer. Try to know why, what is that behind why me. So one by one we counsel, and we try to reach that. But that cannot be, it's an one pill for that why me. No, it varies from person to person. It has to be tailor-made. And it's a very difficult situation, as she rightly put.
So thank you so much. And thank you all our participants and viewers. And I can see 2 names here, Jai Ghoshi, Meenakshi Goswami. So tomorrow we are going to have another session on the very theme called care, compassion, and empathy of elderly. So we invite you tomorrow to listen Dr. Nimisa. Dr. Nimisa is one of the important person of our international summer school, and she is nurturing an organization called OKAYMINDS, and so she has researched on depression and loneliness. She will give some insightful understanding on the very process. So we welcome tomorrow's session. So thank you so much, and on behalf of the Vishwaneedam Center for Assembly, I really feel so much blessed that Dr. Anand, helped us to, engage with a very understanding of old men, and you really invite us to also, think that problem the need of solution. Thank you so much. So thank you so much.
Thank you
So
so
see
much.
you tomorrow, all our friends. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.